Hello, friends. If the Russian Revolution were a movie, Leon Trotsky would be that intense, brilliant character who walks onto the battlefield, takes charge, and somehow manages to turn chaos into order. Without him, the Bolsheviks might not have won the Russian Civil War. He wasn't just a leader, he was a strategist, an organizer, and a man who knew how to inspire both fear and loyalty. When the Bolsheviks took power in 1917, they had a big problem. They didn't actually have an army. The Tsar's military had collapsed, and the soldiers who had once supported the revolution were now heading home to claim their land. Enter Trotsky. Lenin put him in charge of creating an entirely new army from scratch. And Trotsky, who wasn't even a military man by training, turned a ragtag group of revolutionaries into a disciplined, effective force. The Red Army was officially formed in 1918, and at first, it was a mess. There were former imperial officers, newly recruited peasants, and Bolshevik radicals all in the same unit. Trotsky knew that if the Red Army was going to win, it needed strict organization and leadership. One of Trotsky's most famous moves was his use of an armored train, a mobile command center filled with weapons, supplies, and communication equipment. This train allowed him to travel to the front lines wherever the fighting was most intense, giving orders and boosting morale. Imagine you're a Red Army soldier in 1919, cold and exhausted, and suddenly Trotsky rolls in on his armored train, giving a fiery speech about defending the revolution. It worked. Soldiers felt like they were fighting for something bigger than themselves. But Trotsky wasn't just about inspiring speeches. He was ruthless when necessary. The Red Army had a big problem: desertion. Many peasants had joined because they had no other choice, and when battles got tough, some simply ran away. Trotsky cracked down hard. He brought back ex-Tsarist officers to command the army, but kept their families hostage to ensure their loyalty. He ordered deserters to be executed as an example to others. In extreme cases, he used decimation, where every 10th soldier in a retreating unit was shot to scare the rest into fighting. Harsh? Absolutely. But it worked. The Red Army became a disciplined force capable of defeating the Whites. While the White Army struggled with disorganization and infighting, Trotsky's Red Army had a clear goal: survival of the Bolshevik regime. Trotsky used railways to move troops quickly, overwhelming the scattered white forces. He made sure the army was well-fed and supplied, thanks to strict Bolshevik control of resources. He crushed peasant uprisings and independent movements, ensuring there were no distractions from the bigger fight. By 1920, the Bolsheviks had defeated their main enemies. Trotsky had turned a revolution into a regime, and Lenin knew he had made the right choice in trusting him. But while Trotsky had ensured Bolshevik control, Russia was now in ruins. The war had devastated the economy. Factories were shut down, food was scarce, and millions of people were starving. Lenin and the Bolsheviks needed an economic plan to keep their new government afloat. Their solution? War communism, a system that aimed to centralize everything, but ended up bringing even more suffering to the people. That's what we'll explore next.